Hi all, this is Fahim and this is my week 6 progress video. So this week is the domain week and we are given the task to make a login and admin login page. So I took a lot of time to study for this to make the task. I had to study a lot of things like proper middlewares and routing and authentication and authorization. I also use passport.js in my project, so I had to learn how to use that. So I actually took a lot of time, like I took like around like 4 or 5 days to study for to make this task. So I completed the task and it's completed. And I also studied for the full domain review. I'm not sure if I covered everything, but I still have a bit to cover regarding that. But overall it has been a very nice experience because it is when you actually create something that you can notice that um, if you have actually understood what you have learned. And and I felt like I learned a lot of things as I was making this task. I was able to completely properly understand how routing works and the MVC architecture, how we should organize our files and our project. And I was able to learn all of these through making this task, and it was a really good experience in that field of things. And regarding the communication side of things, we moved to the English zone 2 days ago. So now we are in the English zone. So it has been a very nice experience because everyone is now speaking in English. So there's this peer pressure to actually speak in English all the time. And before this, we would start speaking in English. We would decide to speak in English from now on. We're going to speak in English. But then what happens is, but then what happens is, a few, just a day passes, just a day, and we forget about that, and we go back to just talking in Malayalam again. So here, when we're sitting in a whole cabin that is speaking in English, there's much more that what I said, peer pressure to speak in English. When you see everyone speaking in English, your group won't feel like speaking in English. I mean in Malayalam. So that has been a really nice thing that has been provided, and I hope this will let me improve on my communication side of things. So what else do I have to say? I also learned how to use connect MongoDB with my application. So we use something called Mongoose to actually, it's actually an object data relationship model. So what that does is we can just create an object of how we want our data to look like, how we want our documents to look like inside MongoDB, and we can use that to push data into our MongoDB collection very easily. And it has it was very nice because we don't have to worry about any of the syntax of writing into a MongoDB collection. We can just define this model and then reuse that how many ever times that we want. So learning that, it was not that hard, but still there's a few things that you have to know. And I also learned about local variables that are used inside our Express application. So there's this thing called res or response.locals, that when we assign a variable into that response.local, for example response.locals.username, then that the username variable can be used inside our view engines. For example, I'm using the pug view engine, right? So if I can use that same username variable inside my view engine without actually passing the variable when I'm rendering it. So that allows for much more nicer way of actually doing stuff. I use this to implement the error and success messages into my login page. So when a new user is created or when a user is logged out, a message has to come up right in the saying that you logged out or a new user was created. So to implement that, I used um, something called Flash, which is something we can use to pass messages between responses. But the thing about Flash is the message only lasts for one request response cycle. So this can be very useful for error and success messages. So we can use that, and also rest.locals, so that message is actually accessible through the view engine, so we can render the errors in a very clean way. So I was also able to learn things like that, and I learned a lot of things through making this project. And yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.